Previously on the Elevate With Us podcast, I am the broker owner here at Realty One Group Elevate, and I have an incredibly special guest. I think the best description of Brit O'Donoghue is she is an influencer in our real estate market.
I got a call one night from a man named 𝗕𝗏𝗃𝗀. I was sitting in my kitchen. It was 8:30 on a Monday, not to be too specific.
So like how often it's tweeting or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm so bad. I've never really done Twitter.
It's called tweeting.
Tweeting. Okay. 12
You were
years,
cute back
15.
then, but you're cute now. And no cat filters. No filters at all. I'm like anti-filter. If you see me, you will see me in some rough places on social media. I really feel like stories on Instagram and Facebook are humanizing. And so I love behind the scenes stuff, day in the life of. And I think people enjoy looking at that stuff, you know, the amount. So I read an article where it stated that a human scrolls as much as the height of the Statue of Liberty in one day.
What?
Right. So that's
They spend
a lot
that much
of time
going like this on their phone? Yikes.
So, you know, that's why, number one, content creation is so important. Number two is being consistent with it, because most people, I mean, think about it. Take a moment and think about yourself. How much do you scroll on social media? A lot of people wake up in the morning and that's the first thing they do.
Yeah.
When I did 75 Hard, that was one of the things that I cut out.
I was going to ask you about that next.
Okay.
It fascinates me.
So I cut that out, and that was crazy. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, like it's become second nature. I mean, our cell phones are an extension of our hand these days. We freak out if we don't have it with us. My son had my cell phone for 30 minutes, and I was like, I bet you. He was like, I don't even want this anymore. Take it, because it was going off so much. So, you know, content creation is important. Making sure that you're out there and visible is important. And then humanizing yourself, because that's what's going to allow people to connect with you. I appreciate a brand, especially with some of these big box brokerages, but you need to have your own personal brand that kind of separates yourself from just that big box brand.
Absolutely.
I think it's important to have both. If you are into hobbies, I think you should showcase that online. I talk about boundaries. Everybody's boundaries are a little bit different. I'm an open book, so what you see is what you get. You might see what I ate for lunch. You might see me running. You might see me running late for a meeting. I don't know. I just kind of put it out there. Whatever's going on up here is usually on my social media. But I do think that there's so many ways that we can humanize it and not overthink it, where we can allow people to get to know us a little bit better, and that helps.
Well, because I think people get worried about, like, they have kids and they don't want their kids on their social media, so then don't include them.
Right.
They might be a huge part of your life, but if
you don't have to.
Yeah, you could just have your work or your dogs or your cats or whatever it is. I think people get so they get overwhelmed at what other people are doing. And then they're like, oh, well, Brit shows her kids, and Brit does great on social media, so I must have my kids on there. No, because a lot of people, that's a big thing right now. They don't want their kids on social media. And I think that as long as you put yourself out there in some way is all that matters. And everyone starts somewhere. Like if you start doing social media and you start on stories and all you do is film your breakfast every day and your morning cup of coffee, then like that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't have to be like a day in the life of. Like I have a goal of a day in the life of. I've tried to do it multiple times, and then I forget halfway through the day that I've started it.
Yeah. And then you're like, well, there that day way. I'm in bed.
It's 8 p.m. and I did like till 10 a.m.
Well, and I also love behind the scenes. So for my beloved real estate agents, a lot of times you get a lot of slack. People think that your life is nothing but lunches and cocktails. I love breaking stigmas. And so if you showcase when you're sweating to death trying to put a sign in the yard, going through a house and, cleaning it up before showing, all the things, those are the ones that I am like, I will reach out to my real estate agents and say, bless your heart, I cannot believe, Steve Shane the other day, I'm not sure exactly what he was doing, but he was at a house and there was like a spider literally this big. And I was like, burn the house down. But it creates conversational pieces. People might communicate with you a little bit more on that kind of stuff, more so than if it's just stats and numbers.
Yeah, if it's like staged, right?
Yeah.
They've got like beautiful pictures of beautiful houses, of beautiful things. And that's great. Like everyone thinks that's what realtors do all day, right? All we do is look at beautiful homes in stilettos. Well, and that's
and drink a martini while you're doing it.
Yeah, or like champagne. That's what I do. That's what I do all day. Absolutely.
Yes.
100%.
I think people think that about my job too. And I'm like, if you only knew.
I just same.
But I mean, and don't get me wrong. Now, it depends on what kind of agent you are, because obviously your luxury listing agents, like they have to set the bar really high with some of their stuff in social media marketing, because your clientele is a little bit different and they're going to look for a little bit different aesthetically pleasing. But you can still pepper in that, humanizing aspect of social media. And I think it's important.
No, for sure. So I touched on it before that I know you did 75 hard. I'm obsessed with it. I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then I don't do it because I'm like, oh, my birthday falls in there. Oh, Thanksgiving, I can't miss that. So you did it pretty recently.
Yeah, I started on Mother's Day.
You started on Mother's Day. Okay. And what made you do it?
So my life blew up a little bit personally. Not to go into details, but I had the 1, 2, 3 hit where you're like, oh, here we go. All of these things at the same time. They were really life altering. And I just, to be fully transparent, I didn't want to console myself with a bottle of wine or fall into any type of bad habits. So instead I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take this journey. I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
Cause there was 3 pivotal things that happened that were changing the trajectory of my life. Didn't really know what the outcome was, going to be on any of them. And when you are stuck in that pit, you're like, oh, okay. So I was like, I'm just gonna work on myself and, let the chips fall where they may, and God, take it. And it was, so I decided to hold myself super accountable.
Sure.
I knew me. And so I put it out there everywhere. I said that I was going to put a private group together if people wanted to follow the journey, so that you didn't get kind of annoyed by my videos every day. But a way that I held myself accountable is, number one, I knew that if I put it on my platform, I've got like almost 5,000 followers, they were going to ask me about it.
Sure, they're gonna follow up with you.
Right. And so that was going to keep me accountable. I told my whole entire core group, because I said there's going to be moments, and I love me some wine, cheese, chocolate. So I knew I didn't give up cheese, but I gave up alcohol and sugar. And I said, on days that I'm feeling like not doing it, I'm going to call one of you guys to motivate me. That's a huge key. And it was one of the best things I've ever done for myself.
Really?
I was, so people would, I get it. My social calendar never really stops. So I had a wedding with a full course, like 5-course chef's tasting. Couldn't even have the really great wine or the dessert. I was so sad. Erin on my team, she went with me as my date to the wedding. And she was like, well, I'll have your dessert. I'm like, no, nobody's having it. And that was like the first week. I went to a concert. I went to a fully stocked Studio 54 party. And I started, it's weird, sparkling water was my go-to, because I would start bringing it with me. So it was just, I could have one of those, and I was drinking with everybody else, and nobody knew.
You're just setting yourself up for success. You're taking the temptation away. You didn't feel left out in case they didn't have any flavored sparkling water. So, and
that's kind of how I got through it in the beginning. Another thing is I always plan, because you do 2 workouts. Right. And so with my schedule being crazy, especially at night sometimes, I was like, how am I going to do this? So I would always plan the day before. I would look at my calendar. If you do not have a plan B, you will set yourself up for failure. And then at the end, there was one time where I didn't have my book with me. I was out of town, because you read 10 pages or more a day.
And it can't be like Audible. Like you have to read like a real book with pages.
I was actually talking to an agent yesterday that has ADHD as well. And I was saying it's really hard for me to sit down and journal, and it's really hard for me to sit down and read a book. So, which is why I love podcasts. And in the beginning, my daughter would make fun of me because she would say I was doing my bedtime story. I would read out loud. That's how I knew that I was comprehending, because I'm somebody just like I did prayer and meditation in the morning. I would be praying out loud because I'm somebody that literally would be like, dear God, oh my gosh, did I take out the trash? Like, that's just how my brain works. And I was like trying to hold myself accountable to what I was doing. And it's just funny, like, you know yourself better than anybody else. My big thing, and I tell my kids this all the time, if you cheat, you cheat yourself. So just do it, because you're going to be so frustrated with yourself if you don't do it all the way. And my mind, I was so focused. I'm a creative at heart, so I had more ideas than I ever had.
So it focused you.
Yeah.
Big time.
Huge, hugely. And that's kind of where we thought and started setting up some events for the third and fourth quarter. Because we were talking about, investing and loving on our real estate partners. What do they need? We got this event coming up soon that's going to be how to pivot your marketing to sell big in the last quarter with everything that's going on in the market. So just different legislative changes, all this stuff. We just, it helps. Sometimes you got to I take 2 sabbaticals a year. I think that those are really important. One of them, I was doing 75 hard on, so I went to the mountains, unplug a little bit. I usually tell everybody, like, I'm on 24/7, but when I'm off, I'm off.
You're off, big time.
And I think that that's a healthy boundary. And it's kind of hard in this industry because we say we work realtor hours. Well, we understand what you guys are going through because things change in a transaction in the matter of minutes sometimes.
I mean, just like that.
And you might need a question, or you might need a survey, or you might need this, or you might need that. So we give out our cell phone number as that landmark. And so I usually tell everybody, unless it's code red,
sure,
I'm going to kind of unplug and love on my kids, and people respect that, honestly.
Well, you're just setting the expectation, which is huge, right? So people understand that when you're around, you're around.
Yeah.
You're super available. You definitely go above and beyond, and that's so appreciative. What's the word?
Appreciated.
It's appreciated.
I think. I don't know, something like that.
Wow, that was a tough word for me right now.
Yeah.
How do I say this word?
Yeah.
But then they understand that means that when you're not working, you're legitimately not working, and they'll think twice before they reach out.
Yeah.
Which is important, because boundaries are hard, I think, especially for moms.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. I just made that assumption, but I think we're yes people. We like to make everybody happy. We are givers, and that's what we want to do. So it becomes really hard to say no because you feel like you're disappointing someone. And I mean, it's making me sad even saying no in this context. I'm not even saying no to anything. I'm like, oh, I just said no. I didn't know. I think it's very hard because we're caring.
Yeah. People, and a lot of times people-pleasing mentality, and then mom guilt, balancing.
Mom guilt.
Gosh, we could do a whole thing on balancing work-life balance with kids. So yeah, every once in a while I'll take a break, and usually in the summer, and then usually in the winter, and just love on my kids and go do crazy stuff like skiing last year.
Had you never skied before?
I had, but not with all of them, and I didn't know. I mean, my youngest is accident prone. He has broken 4 bones, and he's only 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And none of my other kids, I have 4 boys and 1 girl, and none of my other boys have broken anything. And this one just keeps it interesting. So I was like, we would put a helmet on him, everything, put him into ski school. But yeah, I think that taking a little bit. And so 75 hard was really good to do. That quiet time and unplugging is real, and journaling too. Journaling is something that I think is an art form. I have the hardest time doing it. And it's something, I'm going to do 75 hard again.
You are. I'm going to do it. I just have to, I don't know. I'm making excuses. I need to be better about it. But I really want to do it. I've been fascinated by it for longer than I want to talk about it. Just
the cold shower thing is the one thing I didn't do.
Well, I was going to ask you because I don't, it's a book or something, no?
So it's yes, there's a book that goes along with it. And they have 75 soft, which makes me laugh.
Oh. Maybe I should try that.
Yeah.
Get my toes wet.
I'm somebody that likes goals. I'm so goal oriented and super competitive. So
me too.
It was really good for that.
Okay.
But I did everything, including it's weird when you do the gallon of water a day, because at first, like, I was texting one of my friends who drinks a lot of water, and I was like, girl, I feel like I'm pregnant again. I'm in and out. Like, I had to leave meetings. I'd be like,
go
I'm
to the
so
bathroom.
sorry.
Oh, because
Yeah,
you're
not
drinking
to
so
be
much
TMI,
water.
but I was like always drinking this water.
Yes.
And then I had gained some water weight in the beginning.
Sure.
Your body gets adapted after, I think, like 3 or 10 days or something
To
like
all
that.
the water?
To all the water. And then that kind of subsides.
So what are the rules?
So
2 workouts a day. One has to be outside.
Yeah, both
That's all
45 minutes.
Okay.
Then you do 10 pages a day. I added in not looking at my phone first thing in the morning. And so the way that I was able to manage it was I did meditation and prayer first thing. Like, my eyes were still opening and I had it set on my phone, and I would do that. And then I would still not look at my email because I knew it was going to be there 45 minutes later.
Okay.
And then I would go on I took my dog for almost a 2-mile walk. And that's kind of when I would kind of clear my thoughts for the day. Say some things that I was grateful for, try to set up instead of getting so busy in the motions like we do, kind of started my day like that, which definitely changed my attitude, like, tremendously.
Really?
Because I think once you look at your phone, you start getting, like, people talk about Sunday scaries. You get like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do on my to-do list. I gotta rush these kids out. So it really just kind of changed my mindset there. And then kept going from there, and carried one of my real estate friends bought me a Stanley because I would not spend $50 on a cup. Sorry to
I
everybody
didn't
that
even
loves
know
them.
they cost that much.
Yeah, I was like,
live
no
in
way.
a bubble of things like that.
I tried to buy the knockoff from Amazon, and no, it doesn't keep it as cold as the other one. So shout out to Sarah.
So you
for
like the
buying
cup.
me.
The
I
cup's
like the
good. The
cup.
cup's good.
It's grown on me. But they have all these reels on Instagram of, like, girls carrying around, like, they have them, like, with water jugs, like, making fun of what it looks like for a girl to carry around a Stanley.
Is your Stanley cup a gallon?
It's not. I have to drink 3.
I'm like, you would need to, like, drag it. Like, you need a suitcase.
I think you have to drink like 3.5 of it to make it.
Okay.
And then I would kind of pepper it. I like to run. So I would run, do yoga, and then weight training. You're supposed to keep with a diet. I'm not a fan, especially because I used to be a fitness instructor, of no carbs. I think you do need some carbs to keep your body going. But no sugar, no alcohol. And I just did mostly protein and vegetable.
Okay.
And then,
Wait, big question.
yes,
Did you drink coffee?
I did.
Okay. Because
I
I've
think
read
they
different
do-
things about it that you're
Yeah,
not supposed
I think they
to.
do cut out caffeine. So the 2 things that I'm going to do when I do it again is I'm going to cut out caffeine, and I'm going to do the cold showers.
Really? You're not worried about the caffeine having...
Headache?
No, with the ADD, because it helps.
It does help. I don't know. Sky's the limit. So if I'm driving everybody nuts, y'all just have to tell me. We'll do a poll on Facebook.
Okay.
How nuts is Brit off caffeine?
Because I mean, I don't necessarily drink coffee for the caffeine. I legitimately like it.
I like coffee.
Like,
Coffee ice cream is my favorite. My kids are like,
oh, it's so delightful. I just love coffee. So, and in an effort to have less caffeine, if I drink coffee, I only drink 1 cup a day. But if I drink it later, I drink decaf. That's the word for it. Non-caffeinated. Oh Lord, decaffeinated.
Yeah, caffeine doesn't affect me at all.
Me either. I can drink it at 10 o'clock at night and I go right to sleep. But I just love coffee. So to me, that's been one of my roadblocks is I don't want to give up coffee because I just love it.
Yeah. It's only 75 days. I'll tell you what also happens after it, because I think I ended it in July, is you don't want to lose a lot of it. Like, I had an agent reach out to me that did it. It's amazing how many people you find out have done it before, maybe did it privately.
Oh, interesting.
And so they'll encourage you from the sidelines. And she was like, Brett, I'm going to tell you a couple things. Number 1, be careful the first time you have a drink. Well, I broke my 75 hard in 𝗏𝗲.
No, I remember. Yeah.
And so I puked. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
It was great before then.
Up until that point.
It was awesome. And then I was like, this is awful. Number 2, you might go through a little bit of depression because you're so consumed with doing this.
Oh, interesting.
And you're on such a high. And then when it's over, you're like, well, now what?
Oh, wow.
And that subsides. But it did. At first, I was like, I didn't, it was like
you kind of felt lost.
Yeah,
you were
because you were so you had like such a regimen.
Yeah.
So that was weird. It does happen. I don't know if I would call it depression, but I mean, to each their own. It's just you kind of am like, I don't know what to do with my hands now.
Yeah, yikes.
And then last is then you realize like I want to keep some of these things incorporated in what it does, but you don't want to feel guilty for not doing them all and trying to wean yourself back in. So after Baja Mar, I came back, I would have a glass of wine and it would literally just sit here and I just would almost like not know what to do.
You would like pour it and not drink it? You're like,
or I would just baby sips. And, sugar, I'm not really, sugar's not like my vice. I can give it up. I like it every now and then. I feel bad during birthdays not eating birthday cake, but besides that, like, it's not my thing.
I wish that was me. I love Nutella. Nutella's my favorite thing.
Really? Do you eat it with a spoon out of the thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like peanut butter.
I like that too, but Nutella's my jam.
Yeah, my daughter likes Nutella.
I can't have it around.
She eats it in a sandwich and considers it food.
I agree. It's definitely a sandwich.
Yeah.
I mean, if you put fruit on it, it's basically healthy.
Yeah, I get it.
I mean, basically. I mean, I don't know, they even make like Uncrustables like that now.
Yeah, I know.
They make Uncrustables with Nutella.
I feel like I'm giving my kid a cookie for lunch.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, I know.
And their teachers hate me if I do that. So no,
Listen,
here's 6 for you, kid.
Well, no, you just give Nutella sandwich and carrot sticks. It's all about balance.
Right.
And then it's appropriate.
Fruit salad.
Yeah, there you go. I love it. I love it. I love it. Man, you have done so many cool things in your life.
I have done
so many cool things. Mostly marketing related, but in different venues, in different venues. So what part of your previous careers do you think has set you up for the most success with what you're doing now? Because you're definitely doing amazing things and you're changing real estate agents' lives in a really positive way.
Well, so I started life young. And so I started my careers young. And I would say with every career that I've had, whether it was television production, behind the scenes marketing, working with builders and developers, I've always been pushed out of my comfort zone. So now, I mean, when I worked for my old job, I remember a guy that I worked with, he and I went to Kalamazoo, Michigan. Which I had never been to, and it's a hike to get there. And they wanted me to speak, and it was 500 loan officers in the room, and the guy that I had to speak after was on the Senate. So I was like, whoa.
Wow.
And I did, and I've been put in a lot of rooms with a lot of cool people and a lot of like settings to just kind of, again, I'm somebody that just will get up there and just wing it. And there's times even we had an event, I think it was myself, 𝗕𝗓 Underwood, and Aaron Salem from Roundtable. We did a marketing class and we had 92 different eyeballs looking at us. And they're our peers and we see them every day, but I still get nervous. What if what I'm saying makes sense, or do I sound stupid? Do they already know this? And so I just think with all my jobs, I've always just been put in rooms where I just kind of had to just get over myself and just do what I know and, speak from the heart and be who I am. And you're either going to like it or you don't. And that's kind of how I've done life. And it's been well so far. So far, so good.
Oh, no, I think you're doing great. I mean, you've had a lot of challenges, right?
Yeah.
Single mom, 5 kids, just 5 kids is a challenge.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you add in being a single mom, which I can relate to because I'm also one. So that's fun, challenging, can be great, but can be frustrating.
Yeah.
All at the same time. So that's amazing. I mean, I love following you on social media.
Thank you.
I feel like we're best friends. We're not, but I feel like we are.
We can be.
Yeah, just because you're so real on there.
Mm-hmm.
You share really funny quotations, which is really fun. You share great pictures. Sometimes you look like a runway model. Sometimes you're running, and most people don't look like they came off the runway when they've been running. So that's a really good piece of advice. Just watching you on social media as to what people can do is it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done.
Yeah, I think that I'm a word person. Every year I come up with a word.
Oh my gosh, me too.
So what was your word this year?
My word's abundance.
Mine is intentional. So everything this year has been intentional work-life balance, kids, parenting, all of it, friendships, boundaries, all of it, even finances. And my hashtag that obviously I can't coin myself, but that I use a lot is change the narrative. And I really am big about changing the narrative online because my pastor was talking about this a couple weeks ago, is don't be so consumed with people's highlight reel. And this is something that's been talked about since the span of, social media becoming what it is, evolving to this monster. I don't want people to think that my life is super easy. I don't want people to think that I don't have bad days. I'm a human being. Some days I want to throw stuff and say shit and just lose my mind.
Absolutely.
And some days I have really big wins and I'm super proud of them. Whether it's something that my kids did or something that happened at work or something that's happened personally. I've had heartache. I've had death. I've had all the same things that everybody else has had. And so I don't want to never seem like I'm approachable because anybody can come up to me. Don't ever want to seem like I have a huge ego because I have none. If you live in a house with 3 teenagers like I do, they humble you real quick online.
Real quick.
Yep.
Real quick. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Stop doing that. You ain't cute. Mom, take it down. They've told me to take down things before because it's embarrassed them.
Yeah, mine mostly tell me that I'm so cringy all the time. I get it's a teenage word.
Bruh, take it down.
Oh my gosh, cringy. Everything I do is cringy.
So that's why I cringe at the word influencers. If you say that I'm influencing on social media, I guess that sounds a little bit better to me because I think the stigma around a social media influencer, a lot of that is fake, and...
Oh, I don't think you're fake at all. I think that your influence is 100% positive.
Okay,
I think that your influence is showing realtors how and what they can do on social media and that it isn't hard. And you give them tools, you meet with them, you help them, you teach classes on it. I only mean it in a good way. I don't mean you're like putting your makeup on and
right. And
whatever.
That's not bad. Don't get me wrong, because I love those videos.
Me too. They're fun. You've taught me how to do some makeup. My eyebrows.
I was going to say, I didn't even know how to do eyebrows.
That's so funny.
But, and I love that stuff. And there's a place for it, obviously, and there's a market for it when it comes to fashion and all that stuff. But for me, if I'm going to do anything, I just want to influence in a positive way and just be myself and, share and provide any knowledge that I have. And I hope that I can get the same from folks in the industry. I don't know everything. There's days where even yesterday, my first morning class, my son came and he knew more about some nuances with ChatGPT than I did. And he's 18. So always stay learning. But what you see is what you get. I believe in being real. And that's what I try to put out there and put online.
That's awesome. No, you're an amazing human. You're an amazing person. I am so thankful that we connected. I think I met you the first time. Was at a landmark event. And I think it was Tracy Hayes had this amazing girl on who wrote a book who lost
Heather
her
Monahan.
She's Monahan.
That man.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that I didn't really know about her until I went to that podcast and listened to it. And then I read the book twice.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, she's an influencer, and I think in only a positive way.
Yeah.
And that book and what she talks about is so powerful as a working woman. I think she really speaks to imposter syndrome and all of those things that most of us suffer from.
Yeah.
But every time I read the book, and I've listened to the podcast multiple times, really, really is amazing. And that was my first experience with you, which was great. Like you put that together and helped put it together with Tracy, and it was very good.
Good.
It was very, very good. Very good.
She speaks a lot of the same, one of the things, and again, I was listening to this on a different podcast, but talking with authority. You can talk with authority and confidence and not be cocky. That's not arrogance. And I try to talk with authority. I think I'm a little bit softer than Heather, but she is really big on female empowerment and, lifting up others. And her story and what she went through with her job and a female gunning for her. That's really hard, especially if you're a single, female.
Terrible, yeah.
Mom out here just trying to feed your kids and stuff, and you have to deal with stuff like that. And I just think females, it's obviously changing the dynamic, and no hate on men. I love my guys. I got some guys that are like brothers. David's like one, Will's like one. But, as a female, it's already hard. And especially when you're a single mom and, just trying to put food on the table. We got something called inflation right now. You don't need to tear others down. Mm-hmm. Honestly, you can get together and put a bunch of strong females in a room, and it's amazing what you guys can do together. So I really enjoyed having her on. And I thought she provided a lot of value that day.
She did. The biggest piece I got from her that I've implemented as much as possible in my life is not apologizing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I'm late. I appreciate your patience.
I apologize for everything.
I think it's a mom, woman, whatever thing. So I'll write like in a text message or in an email, I'm sorry. And then I like delete it. And I think of Heather and I write, I appreciate your patience.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
It's a very hard thing to do because I am sorry I'm late, but I don't remember why you're not supposed to say you're sorry. But no one's ever said you should have apologized when I said I appreciate your patience.
Right.
And I say it often.
I have people that have corrected me too and been like, Brit, stop saying you're sorry. And
well,
I'm
that's
like,
great.
Oh, sorry. Sorry,
I don't know what to
do. But yeah, she was really good. There's a lot of good men in. I usually will, for some folks that follow me on Instagram and ask for some content ideas or people that are really good to follow. I'm a huge Gary Vee fan. Not everybody likes him because he says the F word every other word, but I think he's really great at what he does. He's another one that speaks with authority.
Sure does.
Look at also agents. There's agents all over the U.S. They might work in a different market, but you might see what they're doing on social media and you can, get content ideas from them and see what they're doing and like. And the same goes, the number one industry right now is life coach, which is sad. That tells me that there's a lot of lost people right now. And I think, again, we're looking at ripple effects emotionally from COVID,
absolutely.
Isolation, not knowing, and people want to have more positivity in their lives. So that's why I think it's really important that you change the narrative online and be more positive, love on people. It's amazing what will happen. Even if you have one of those clients that are just, I'm talking about on the customer aspect, they're just never happy and just, it's really hard for them to stay that way if you're super sweet to them and just keep smiling and just say, okay, it's fine. We'll figure it out.
Well, and we live in a society that's a little disconnected, right? We don't, people don't have phone calls. They don't meet in person. They just text and whatever. And we were talking about earlier about your sphere of influence and those people and checking on people. I don't think I've ever been offended by someone I know calling me.
Oh, no. I want to hear your voice.
I've never been like, oh, wow, I haven't talked to blank in 6 months. I can't believe they're calling me. It's the opposite. You're like, oh, my gosh.
I haven't talked to you so long.
You're like so excited. So reach out to people, connect with them.
Yeah.
It will be life-changing for you and them because you don't know. They could feel really alone. They could feel really isolated, and that phone call could really make a difference for them.
Oh, so I'm big on, if you're going to text, because we're busy, I like video text. So
I do too.
I just was talking to my girlfriend about this, and every once in a while, I know that we send out handwritten cards to customers, past, clients. Send them out to your friends. It's amazing what it does. I pick 10 every once in a while, and I'll drop a little card in the mail, like a postcard. And it means a lot to them when they get that because you've taken the time out to love on your friends, especially if you live this crazy life.
Sure.
But my girlfriend, I sent her a video. I got one on a day that I was having there was nothing else that could have gone. Well, that's not true. but
everything was going
went wrong that day, like from start to finish. Even my son was like, "Oh my!" I like it was whether I was dealing with somebody on the phone. I couldn't get my registration because I had like this toll issue that was in Orlando. I couldn't get him on the phone, and I kept hanging up. And then it was like thing. Technology wasn't working at work. Like it was just one thing after another. I spilt my coffee all over myself. Like it was just. And I got one of her video messages. I was like, she was like, "You're so positive, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Girl, if you talk to me right now, you would know that I am not positive." But your video it meant so much to me. Yeah. So people can't get your body language and your voice tone from a text message, but they can from a video message. Yep. And I'm not talking about like a mass, what is it, bomb or something?
Bomb, which is an email video
right,
service.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a straight
You're talking like holding your phone up and you're like, "Hey."
It doesn't matter what you look like. You could have just got done at the gym. "Boo, I was thinking about you, blah, blah, blah." You never know what people are going through. A lot of people are going through a lot of shit right now. And so if I can love on them in any way, in a personal aspect, so video text is definitely...
Yeah, I've been video texting customers for probably about 4 years now, and it's like my secret sauce when someone's ghosting you.
Yeah,
because they have a hard time saying no to your face.
That's true.
Right? And I had one a few months ago that was a referral from another Realty One Group office, and I'd spoken to her, and I knew she was coming into town. Like I had the date down, and I could not get her to respond to me for the life of me. And she was like on 3 hours away, like a 3-hour time zone away or whatever. So I couldn't do it at the time when I wanted to do it, like at 9 a.m. So it was like 9 at night. I had already gotten ready for bed. It was like the next day I was washing my hair. It looked gross. Like,
did you have a face mask on?
I should have, but I
would
did
have
not.
done that.
I looked so terrible. And I sent her the message, and she called me the next day and was like, she's like, "Thank you so much for the message. I hadn't forgotten about you, but you were so raw in that video that I had to call you." And I was like, yeah, like I looked terrible. Like I
don't believe that.
Oh, it was horrible.
We're always our own worst critics.
It's okay. It was bad, but it personalized me. It made me a real person. I was a person that just said, "Hey, it is 9:00 at night on a Wednesday, and I haven't heard from you, and I know you're coming into town, and I just want to make sure you're okay," and blah, 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 blah. And that made her respond. So it's just personalizing the whole situation when we live in this phone, email,
interpersonal world.
Yeah, it's just humanizing, which we've talked about a lot. Well, Miss Brit, I so appreciate you coming on.
Thanks.
I think I might have to have you come on another time. I think we could probably talk about stuff.
Okay.
Forever.
Yeah, I'm a talker. I have the gift of gab.
The gift of gab. I understand. Me too. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Elevate With Us podcast, and can't wait to see what's next.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for having me.